This business class flight is the direct result of manifesting with Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings and being more playful than the minions. And that's why in today's video I reveal the 5 principles of manifesting like Joe Dispenza that made this business class flight possible, why most people fail at manifesting despite knowing all the right techniques, and I learned this at a week-long advanced retreat, and the exact principles from Joe Dispenza's book You Are the Placebo, Becoming Supernatural, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and Evolve Your Brain that I used. What if I told you that the first principle is based on something that Joe Dispenza said at one of the week-long advanced retreats that I attended, and on something that Barney Stinson always says in the hit TV show How I Met Your Mother? Suit up! No, not this one, that one. Challenge accepted. At one of the 3 Dr. Joe Dispenza week-long advanced retreats I attended, he said something incredibly powerful at the end of the retreat. And what he said is that whenever he's in this playful, silly mood, that's when things materialize the fastest. Or as the universe would say, stop being so German! It's not a secret that we Germans are considered the most unfunny people in the world. The creators from South Park know this as well as I do, and that's why I had to unlearn being German, which means I had to be less like a robot and I had to tune into my heart. And this leads us to the first principle that is based on what Joe Dispenza said at this week-long advanced retreat that I attended. Have fun, be playful, and see your manifestations appear out of nowhere. Now, how did I use this principle to manifest this business class flight? First, when I visualized me being in the business class seat, I didn't just see myself sleeping there because that would be boring. I saw myself watching movies and eating delicious food and fully enjoying the experience. Second, I felt the warmth of the smiles of the cabin crew, and that's something that the airline that I flew with is doing really well because they know how to smile to really open your heart, and I really felt myself into this feeling. I put myself into the experience of already going through the steps of flying business class, which would be to smile at the employee in the business class lounge, to smile at the person who takes my ticket, who looks at it and shows me the seat, to then smile at the person who brings me the food. That's how much I immersed myself into this experience. Third, now we come to an interesting point in this video, because maybe you've already been thinking to yourself, Sebastian, you published videos about how you were able to 20x your income by using Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings and meditations, and how you manifested $500,000. Of course you can allow yourself to fly business class whenever you want. Well, yes, that's true, but remember what I said earlier, and no, I'm not talking about the suit up part, I'm talking about the challenge accepted part, because this leads us to the third part of how I use the principle to have fun and to be playful, to then see your manifestation appear out of nowhere, and how you can do it as well, if you're ready for a challenge. Here's how that looks like in the practical context, because let's say that you've reached a point in your life where you can fly business class whenever I want, which is the financial abundance that I've achieved, where I can now say whenever I want I fly business class. And previously I was always challenging my manifestation powers by saying whenever I make more than $15,000 a month, that's when I then allow myself to have a business class upgrade. And now that I was consistently manifesting more than $20,000 a month, I needed a new challenge, and I was ready to once again say challenge accepted. Because there was one ceiling, one invisible ceiling that I was not able to break through, and that was $22,000 a month. Most months I made between $20,000 and $21,000 a month, but I said to myself, okay, challenge accepted. and I then proclaimed to the universe, I hereby proclaim that I shall only fly business class if I break through this ceiling. And because I wanted to make it more fun and playful, I wrote down the manifestation goal of $22,222. And here's what happened. I had my business class flight, or let's better say my flight, because I hadn't upgraded to business class yet. I had my flight on the 31st of May, and on the 30th of May, I received the payment that then turned my monthly income into $22,300. And I was so ecstatic that in the morning when I went to the airport, I woke up extra early because I said to myself, okay, this challenge is not over yet. It's only over once I get that business class seat, because I didn't know if there was a seat available. And I also said to myself, I will only take a seat if it's a single seat, because when I fly business class, I want to have a single seat for myself. And I kid you not, when I arrived at the airport, the only single seat that was still free was seat number B, and I was talking to the employee at the check-in counter, and they were able to give me that seat and to upgrade me to business class. That was the only remaining one. Like, I just looked up in the sky and I was like, thank you, universe. You are welcome, my son. And the next principle is so powerful that it can completely change your life, but most people are not willing to do it. And yes, I'm talking about shutting your brain off. Huh? And nowadays it's incredibly easy for me to shut my brain off. But back then, when I started to manifest, it was not that easy, because I was doing something that so many people who begin manifesting do, and that's that they think the emotions, but they don't feel the emotions. But as Joe Dispenza always says in his week-long advanced retreats, feel it in your heart, that's energy. And boy, oh boy, I can tell you that wasn't easy for me, because I'm German, and we Germans are the world champions at overthinking, at analyzing, and at never being able to shut our brain off, because, well, we are robots. In fact, at the third Joe Dispenza week-long advanced retreat I attended, I was sitting next to a woman who replied with, but when I analyzed this, when I told her that she just has to feel it. And yes, she was German. In Becoming Supernatural, Dr. Joe Dispenza reminds us that we become heart-empowered individuals when we intentionally choose to feel the elevated emotions of the heart. And this leads us to principle number 2. Feel the emotions of your future in your heart instead of trying to analyze them in your brain. I did not analyze or intellectualize the emotions that were in alignment with the $22,222 a month income. Instead, I fully immersed myself into the feelings. So yes, I went against my German programming. I am no longer a robot. I shall resist my programming. I'll be back. But I didn't just feel the emotions, I felt them with my heart, and this made all the difference. And here's how you can do that in a practical context. Step number 1, define 1 to 3 emotions that give you the biggest emotional woo-hoo-hoo when it comes to them being in alignment with the materialization of your manifestation. Kind of like the woo girls in How I Met Your Mother, in case you've ever watched this. Step number 2, activate your heart. Focus your awareness on it, give it your attention, tune into it, so that you can then feel the emotions from your heart. Step number 3, now you can feel the emotions with your heart. You feel them from your heart, deeply from your heart. And you do that by placing your awareness on your heart while you simultaneously search for the emotion. And you then feel the emotion while you continue to physically tune into your heart by giving it your attention. And this allows you to connect the energy of the heart with the emotion, which leads to the frequency. Now you know how I reached the frequency of $22,222 a month, but do you also know what Joe Dispenza said about your thoughts in his book Evolve Your Brain? Because before my spiritual awakening in the year 2020, my thoughts were my biggest enemy. In fact, on a typical day, I was thinking the following thoughts. I'm such an idiot. I just can't do it. Why am I so stupid? I will never heal. I'll never get rich. Even the universe was like, why are you doing this to yourself? I was doing this to myself because unresolved trauma from the past, in combination with a cortisol level that was higher than the Mount Everest, made me a tiny bit self-destructive. Now I ask you, is any of the thoughts I mentioned in alignment with abundance? No! Universe, I wasn't asking you. Sorry. In his book Evolve Your Brain, Joe Dispenza says that conscious thoughts, repeated often enough, become unconscious thinking. And this leads us to the third principle that allowed me to manifest $22,222 a month and my business class upgrade that I then got last minute. You can't repeat a supportive thought too often, because every repetition is a new signal that you send into the field. And what do I mean by supportive thought? Any thought that supports the materialization of your manifestation. If you want to manifest abundance, every thought that is in alignment with wealth and money. If you want to manifest love, every thought that is in alignment with love and a loving relationship. If you want to manifest health, every thought that is in alignment with healing and wholeness. Now here are some of the thoughts that I was thinking every day during this month when I was able to achieve this income. I am creative. I am rich and wealthy. I can do anything I set my mind to. I am worthy of abundance. I am in love with life. Now here's what you can do every day in a practical context to establish unconscious thought patterns that are in alignment with your desired reality. Step number 1, you can choose 1 to 2 guiding affirmations that guide you through the day. And of course, these affirmations should be in alignment with the reality you want to draw to you. Step number 2, now you can commit to being that new self and repeating these new thoughts so that they can sink through your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And you can do that by simply setting an alarm in your phone for every hour or every 30 minutes or whatever time frame you prefer, or maybe I should say whatever time frame you need in order to not always go back to the old self. And remember what Joe Dispenza said, the more you repeat it, the more it becomes unconscious thinking. And this leads us to step number 3. Now it's time to feel yourself into your belief, because Neville Goddard said the following words in Resurrection. The subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. Feeling is the ascent of the subconscious to the truth of that which is declared to be true. Remember, it's not about mindless repetition, it's about pinging your subconscious mind through emotions so that you can then establish a completely new way of thinking. And one of the most powerful ways to program your subconscious mind and to change your paradigm on a deep subconscious level is meditation and hypnosis. And that's why I just want to share with you that I recently included a bonus to my 11 Days to Manifestation Mastery program, which is my audio program. And it's called the Ultimate Guided Meditation and Hypnosis Vault, which gives you access to more than 60 guided meditations and guided hypnosis files for manifesting love, health, and abundance. And you can click on the second link in the description to find out more about it. What I'm about to share with you now will remind you of the good old days when you were playing video games with your friends, or maybe the not so good old days, because as a teenager I was actually quite depressed. I tried my best to cheer you up back then, but you just ignored me. Video games were my escape, and now that I look back at this time, I can confidently say that playing ego shooter games all day long did not help me to improve my mental health, and it also didn't help me to manifest my dreams, which back then I wasn't even aware that this is a possibility. But there is one thing that I was able to take away from this experience of having played video games a lot as a teenager, and this has to do with the next principle that I want to share with you. And this makes all the difference, because in You Are the Placebo, Dr. Joe Dispenza shares with us that our brain cannot distinguish between an actual experience and an experience that we're only thinking about. Neurochemically, these two are the same. And this means that you now have to make the decision to immerse yourself into the imaginal act every day. And yes, I'm talking about the same imaginal act that Neville Goddard described in Let Us Go Into Silence. Test yourself and you will discover that your imaginal act was the cause of the response of the world relative to you. I invite you to test yourself, but not before you fully understand principle number 4, which is based on my past as an avid gamer. Create an image in your mind that shows you living and experiencing your desired future. But create this image from the first-person perspective. Only then are you fully immersed in the experience. I mean, how can you truly live in the end when you can't even see yourself living the life you want to manifest? Because when I now, in my current physical reality, look at myself, or let's better say, look around me, I see my hands, I see my arms, and when I look down, I see something else. We don't want to talk about that right now, Jesus! But yes, that's how I invite you and encourage you to see yourself in your desired reality. Instead of you looking at your reality that you want to create as a third-person observer, I invite you to immerse yourself into the experience by seeing yourself just like you see yourself in your physical reality, by looking at your hands, at your arms, and by looking at other body parts from the first-person perspective. Don't just look at your dream car. See your hands on the steering wheel while you drive it. Don't look at a business class seat. See yourself sitting in it, staring at the screen or at your delicious food. Don't just look at your bank account statement. See your fingers on your smartphone while you're checking your bank account balance. That's how the numbers on your bank account statement increase until you then see $22,222 a month. But without the last principle that I'm about to share with you right now, nothing in your life will change. And if I hadn't done this one thing, I would have not been able to manifest $22,222 a month and to break my invisible ceiling, or let's better say, to break through my invisible ceiling. I would have not achieved that, and looking back at my life, I most likely would have not gone from making less than $1,000 a month to then accomplishing the first jump to $3,000 a month, which eventually led to more than $20,000 a month. The only reason why I was able to manifest all this is because I followed a principle that Joe Dispenza shared with us in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Because in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Joe Dispenza shares something with us that is incredibly powerful but often overlooked, and that's that change is a choice. And this leads us directly to principle number 5. Make the choice to change every day, and your life will inevitably change. If you want to change your reality, you have to change every aspect of yourself that is not in alignment with the abundant reality or the loving reality or the whole reality that you want to create for yourself. That's the only way, and that's why Neville Goddard shared the following words in Your Faith is Your Fortune. Stop trying to change the world, since it is only the mirror. Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself. The reflection then will be satisfactory. And this process of change is only possible if you make the conscious choice to change, and if you make this conscious choice every day. Why? Because it's easier to stay addicted to the emotions of the past and to not live the life of your dreams, and to continue to live the life that you don't even want. And because it's easier to not speak your affirmations multiple times a day, and to not do your meditations, and because it's easier to not act and react like the new abundant self that we create together in week number 3 of my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. All of this is easier. But making the right choice every day is what draws your manifestation into your physical reality. In fact, it's the only way. Yes, it's a choice. No, it's not always easy. Yes, you'll most likely have to overcome worry and doubt. No, you won't always be perfect. Yes, you have to take responsibility for your life. I make this choice every single day, and that's why the universe rewarded me with financial freedom, with a loving relationship and physical healing, and of course also with this business class flight. Now, what will you manifest once you make this choice? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know in the comments below if you are willing to make this choice every day. What if you choose to live a life of abundance and financial freedom? Then I invite you to go to affirmationtomanifestation.com/abundance, or to click on the first link in the description to find out more about my 8-week one-on-one coaching program, the Abundance Reality Shift Coaching Program. There you can also watch the video testimonials from previous coaching clients, and you can have a look at all the bonuses that you get completely for free for joining this coaching program. Now, what if I told you that I didn't just manifest a $22,222 month and this business class flight, but also a net worth of $500,000 by using Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings and meditations? If you're ready to find out exactly how I did this and which meditations I used, you can watch this video next.